Listen, people, I'm alive and well. Nigel's Views, episode 9. Welcome to Paxton Road. Like, subscribe. All my loyal fans, I'm very sorry. All the new fans, we welcome you here. Glad you could make it. If you've never seen Nigel Views, I'm pretty much gonna talk Spurs, really, but no one else can interrupt me and I get to do it. I know I've been gone for a long time, but I do say I come back to this show with a little bit more gravitas. My graduation, I bumped into Alistair Gold, so you could say I am a second-hand gold tier source. You could say. It's up to you. It's up to you. I'm not telling you to do that, but you could. You could. I mean, where can you start with Spurs? Really, we've got off to a flying start in terms of results. In terms of performances, a bit of a mixed bag, but I didn't get to speak to you guys earlier during the season, even before the season, during the preseason, because I have been very busy. But I was in the group chat pretty much puffing out my chest saying Conte, full season, no Delhi, no Ndombele, no figuring out who needs to be where, no wasting time with the likes of Regulon. We're going to come in straight, full preseason with Conte fit, and we're going to just carry out his instructions to a T. And I was putting us right up there with City and Liverpool. I just thought to myself, realistically, how many seasons of 90 points per game can you have before you take a drop? And is that drop going to be worth 10 points? And is our improvement going to be worth 10 points? To kind of make it a little bit of a conversation. The Chelsea situation, that club looked confused. It looked like a lot of players were kind of counting pennies over there, deciding where their future laid. Tuchel was kind of saying a lot of things. So I thought, listen, this could be the season where out of nowhere it just opens up. I very deliberately not mentioned Manchester United because, yeah. So that was my expectations. I've drunk the Kool-Aid, and you know I'm a realist. I am a realist. So you've those of you who followed from the very beginning, you were there when I was saying I see nothing from this club. And now last season you saw me saying top four's on. Now you're seeing me saying I think a title challenge, well, at least I thought a title challenge was on. I don't rule it out. So far we've got results, right? But I think the season, the one thing I learned from Mr. Mourinho is it's a long season, right? I do expect performance levels to kind of increase, and Conte's favorite word is to suffer, right? And I mean, against Nottingham Forest, we suffered, right? Against Chelsea, we suffered a lot. And there's been spells where we've been by far the more sat back team, got back into our defensive blocks, and we've just looked to kind of play on the counter or take our moments, and we've proven to be very good at that. The question is then, what's the difference between what we're doing with Conte and what we're doing with what we did with Mourinho? And to be honest, my answer to that question is I don't know, but I feel better about it, right? I feel a lot better about it. I was noticing that, like, I haven't had to dig out Sanchez. You could have, but it's less catastrophic, right? I haven't had to dig out Davis. They do their things, but it's less, oh my god, like you can never play him again, right? Like they're still shades of the players that they were, but within what Conte's doing, it's a lot more shaded, let's say. That midfield two with Bentancur and Højbjerg, I am not the biggest Højbjerg fan. I understand the point of him. My only qualm with him is I just don't think you could be that poor on the ball as a midfielder and in a real top side. But I get the point of him, right? If that's your back three with Romero, Davis, and Dyer, two of those are going to be a liability. One of them's extremely aggressive. Then you've got Bentancur and Højbjerg, who are absolutely everywhere, doing a lot of shading, doing a lot of like groundwork. They cover miles, and that's one thing. I mean, Bentancur, as much as he's a bit of a magista, he gets in the middle, always available for the ball, plays around the corners, kind of turns the defense into the attack. The missing link that we didn't have when we just used to pass it around the back. I think his contribution defensively is extremely underrated. So that's one thing I'll say. Højbjerg and Bentancur in front. I'd say Romero's another difference. And another difference is literally just Conte. I mean, the guy fills me with confidence. I was the biggest Mourinho fan in the whole wide world, but I get the feeling he just threw his hands up in the air at a certain point. And what we have here, I mean, we're 4 games in. Mourinho was doing exactly this at the same time, getting results whilst suffering, essentially, controlling the games on the back foot. But I will say I feel different about this one. I mean, some of the games we've won before Conte got here, we'd have lost them, and it would have been the most predictable thing in the world. So, you know, it's a very long season. I'm trying not to get carried away. But for some reason, I have very good feelings for the reasons that I just stated. I have very good feelings. Obviously, we've got Richarlison, who's coming on, making a lot of impact. Bazuma, Jet Spence. We've had a good window. Like I'm pretty happy. We've got them in early. Can't forget Perisic, who seems absolutely class. Super experience, covers a lot of ground. Quality in the final third. Major improvement on Sessegnon. So there's just a few things where I think we've made minor tweaks, which, you know, I mean, if you need grounds for optimism, City have had to burrow themselves out of a hole a few times, and Liverpool have been extremely shaky. I mean, they've lost Mane. So, you know, like, I know it's 4 games in, but it could be more wide open than we believe. I don't rule out anything this season. I really think, at the very least, we can hope for a cup, because I just think we've got the depth in the squad to be able to do pretty well. Which then ties into Champions League, which our draw was extremely like kind to us, right? It was very, you know what? Some people are upset. They wanted to go to a Bernabeu, or they wanted to go to. Listen, we'll get there. Let's just get through Frankfurt and Marseille first, and then we can worry about Bernabeu. It's a long tournament, and I think a lot of us are forgetting, like, when we were in the whatever that cup was, the European trophy that UEFA set up, we weren't rolling teams over. Like, we weren't just turning up and just like saying this is leagues below us. I mean, I know there were certain players who I mentioned before who probably don't need mentioning again. Bergwijn, they came on and they did a lot of nothing. Gil, a lot of those players who we were trying to give more time, that probably definitely won't get an opportunity this time around to kind of showcase their deficiencies in Europe. We'll come out with the depth that I've said that we've kind of acquired, and I think we've got a really decent chance of getting out of that group. Probably favourites to come out of it. Good last 16 draw, if we're lucky as well, and quarterfinals maybe. I know this is the most optimistic video I've made, but I have good feelings. Good feelings. I don't know who says it, if it's Conte or Mourinho, but football is good feelings. Mourinho, it's good feelings. You know, I'm there's a positivity, and I know this happened around Mourinho as well, but it's different. It's different. We've had that. It's kind of full circle, because the first Nigel's views was about Harry Kane and why people don't look at him with the same aura as I think he deserves, really. And he's broken Aguero's record for goals for the same team. He's beaten or matched Andy Cole and beaten Aguero for Premier League goals. And he's only behind Rooney and Shearer, I believe, at the moment. And to me, his goal rate is frightening. I mean, it's not just to me, it should be to everyone, right? You see how many appearances he's done it in, and you've got to remember, like, some of these players were coming in at their prime, right? So they were established. They had a good few years. Kane came in like he was still plying his trade. He wasn't a made article. So for his appearances and his goal rate to be as good as it is, given, you know, he was kind of given an education in the Premier League as well. I think it's pretty stunning, to be honest. Carragher, Redknapp had their discussion, kind of talking about why are people afraid to say Kane is better than Shearer, and I've had the same argument. And we were kind of talking in the Paxton group chat. Would he be viewed differently if he went to another team? What stopped him from ever being regarded as the best striker in the world universally? Why do so many England fans push back on his kind of stature as a player, given how ridiculous his record is? I mean, I think, as much as I'd hate to say it, I think more people will look back fondly on Van Persie's career than Kane's career. And even Drogba. Strikers that I think he's genuinely better than, or he at the very least should be in the conversations with, right? It's very slanted in one way. And how much of that is to do with the fact that he's trophyless? My perception is 100%. Also, there's a little bit of a romanticism with players who, number one, play for or come from European clubs or have an exotic name, you know. It's just cooler to say Robin Van Persie than Harry. Do you know what I mean? It's just a different perception. And I've always argued, like, other players, when Kane has been in the Tottenham side, I mean, we judge him off about 4 games. Do you know what I mean? People always say, "Oh, where was he during the games that you needed him?" Or what did he do in the Champions League final? Or this, that. It's like 4 games, right? Benzema has been in the Champions League many years, right? And his real breakout season was the one where he won European Player of the Year, right? And he can get all the flowers. Mbappe, he had his World Cup final, came up pretty short in a few more international tournaments. He'll get another chance. He's going to play in games like that his entire career, right? So a lot of these players, they're going to have a million games to play, a million big games. Kane probably has had about 4 where you can legitimately say this is a big game. And for whatever reason, he probably hasn't been 100%. And even if he was 100%, most world-class players have many years in big tournaments, many years with competing teams, and many years to fail. And the 2 or 3 years where they win that tournament or do what they're expected to, they get all of their flowers. And that's what the fans remember, right? And unfortunately for Kane, if anything, you'd probably say Son has had those moments. I mean, I know Lucas Moura had the moment in the semis, I think, with Ajax, and that will be forever remembered in Tottenham history. Son, he did it in the quarters against Manchester City of the Champions League, and that was an absolutely unbelievable brace that he scored in that game, and it's completely unforgettable. Massive game. Obviously, Kane's injured, but you know, games like that, he doesn't get the opportunity to play a lot of those, and I think it's a shame. It is a shame. I think he's, in terms of talent, he's right up there with anyone. So I don't know. It depends how much are we factoring in trophies, because I mean, anyone can go anywhere. I think if you put Kane with exactly the same performance levels into Manchester City, we're looking at a completely different career. We're looking at a completely different perception of the player, right? And that's just if he does exactly the same things that he does now. So, you know, I just think it's a little bit unfortunate on his side that he's come out with a few less trophies than, well, I say a few less, I mean 0, which probably doesn't reflect the kind of player he was at all. And you know, we'll play for him. We hope the very best. I think in an era where we've got Klopp and Pep in the Premier League, we really needed to take advantage of the previous years where the league was completely wide open, the Poch years. So, you know, we as I said, the league, there's potential for it to be wide open this year. You never know when the season's going to come, you know, and we just got to be ready for that. We've just got to be ready to take advantage of that. You don't get many like that where, because if there is a down season, you just know every big team is going to bolster up. I mean, even Arsenal seems to be creeping up. I don't put any faith in Gabriel Jesus at all. I put that on record. I don't think he's that good, and I think he'll show his true self soon. But that's an Arsenal team that looks pretty good. They've added Syllabus to the centre back position, a position that needed real bolstering. I mean, it's still Xhaka in centre mid, so how good could they be really? But they look better, and you kind of have to keep up with these teams that are going to keep getting better, and you have to be there and thereabouts all the time. So, you know, I think he's got probably, how many more years? I mean, he's probably got, I would say, 3 more years of being excellent, right? That may not be what he is now, but I think he's got 3 more years of being excellent, and then we'll see. So it's a pivotal period. I think we've given him the best possible opportunity we can as Tottenham, right? Not as Tottenham, we've given him the best we can do in this very moment. With Conte coming since PRTv's arrival, I'd say we've done what we can. So, you know, I hope his career reflects what he deserves at the very end, and at the very end, one team trophy. Anyone who watches basketball, that they always say, like, LeBron's championship in Cleveland means more to his career than any other championship, because that's where he did it. Then you compare it to KD's championships and you say he left the Warriors. And, you know, that will be very special for him if he manages to just win one with Tottenham, you know. Even Gerrard, I mean, Gerrard's Champions League with Liverpool, I think it's a good thing he managed to stay at Liverpool, win a Champions League there. Means a lot more than if you'd maybe gone to Chelsea and kind of, you know, it means more. It's just really special. So I hope Kane does it with Spurs. It will be a really special moment, and that one trophy to the fan base will probably count as possibly 3, you know. Speaking of basketball, it's one of my worst segues ever. Yeah. Son, I compare him to Klay Thompson. As in, fans who don't support Tottenham love the guy. Not a bad word to say about him, right? Until he's in their fantasy. Because they assume, like, they see the numbers and they assume that's just happening every week. Do you know what I mean? And we've had a few discussions. Is he a purple patch player? What's he kind of doing? And the thing is, people outside, they love Son, right? And this is the thing. So the reason I don't think Son gets put on the same pedestal with Kane or any of these other big players is I think the expectation gap we have there, we're very willing to give him his flowers when he's playing amazing, right? But the wider audience outside of Tottenham reporters, Tottenham fans, aren't really paying attention when he's not playing well, right? And he's got the life of Klay Thompson. When he shows up and it's amazing, everyone cares. And when he's going through his dark patch or he's not scoring, you kind of forget about him, and then he'll get brought back up when it's going well. This doesn't surprise me from Son. I mean, Spurs fans, we know you can have a really good Son period, you can have a really bad Son period. I personally believe Reece James is probably the best fullback in the world. So the game where he got completely bullied against Chelsea, I'm not going to hold that against him too much. The last game we played against Forest, I thought our front three in spots, the decision making just it wasn't all the way clicking. Just a little bit disjointed on counter attacks that normally would kind of just woof off the pitch and just figure it out, and someone just slashes it into the corner. And yeah, I mean, a lot of it wasn't clicking, but we know with Son it will come. You know, he's a very good finisher. He is what he is on the tin. I mean, it's nothing new for us to Spurs fan, but just contrasting that with Kane in terms of one's held to this standard of, he's never there when it's a big game. Translation, if we lose a game, he should have scored. And then Son is like the darling. It's like we lose and kind of very little is made of it. And I get it. I mean, Son had the best season of his career last year. I think a few more people care this year. A few more people are asking questions, but I don't know. I just think it's interesting, that dynamic between the talisman and then Son. And I've always kind of thought Son is a superstar, but then there's that step. Do you know what I mean? There's an extra step where you take on the criticism of your team that he's not there yet, because I don't think they expect it yet. And yeah, hopefully we get Son back and just sort out kind of our attacks. I mean, Kulusevski, part of our three-headed monster, just works ridiculously hard, unbelievable at holding the ball up, workhorse, good mentality. Absolutely love Kulusevski. He's a fighter as well. Very spiteful on the pitch. I do like a spiteful player. So just Son, when Son gets clicking, that front three, it's extremely dynamic. It's extremely dynamic, and that's kind of where I was hanging my hat on all my optimism for the year. I mean, I think we talked about the front three, and I was just saying we do this, that. We talked about the midfield and the reinforcements we brought in. It almost completely makes you forget you still have Dyer, Sanchez, and Davies in defence. And the first game of the season started, and I was like, oh, holy crap, like we still have Dyer and Sanchez in defence. And it kind of rattled my cage a little bit, but, you know, I'm holding tight. Listen, long season, I thought I'd tap in because I haven't given the fans what they want. Nigel's views, episode 9. Please comment, like, subscribe. Anything you want to add, please. I will be in the comments and replying. And yeah, thank you very much.